Hello to all my viewers, this is Magicalamazing, and today's video is going to be part 2 of the making of my BAR. This video is going to be on the magazine and the stock. First I cut out the side plates of the magazine and cut strips where it's going to have indents. Here I've removed the strips where the indents are going to be, and I put a back on what will be the inside of the magazine to hold the pieces together. Here is the opposite side, which will be the inside of the magazine panel. I repeated the process for the other side of the magazine and put a strip in between them to suspend them apart the correct distance. After cutting a hole in the bottom of the body of the gun where the magazine will go, I test to make sure that it fits correctly. I then test to make sure the action, once again, works correctly without getting hung up on the magazine. I cut a notch in the magazine so it doesn't get hung up on the action. I then covered the sides of the corrugation and added a piece to the bottom, which was on the actual magazine. The next thing to do was to start working on the stock. Using the same technique I outlined in the last video, I cut out one of the side panels of the stock and copied it onto a piece of cardboard. I then mirrored it on the same piece of cardboard, separated by a little bit of material in the middle. This will allow for the curved top portion of the stock. I cut out that one large piece on the cardboard, bent the top so it would be curved, and used a strip of cardboard to cover the bottom and the rest of the correct thickness. I did not, however, cover the piece that would be connected to the main body of the gun. The next step, I cut out this vaguely phallic piece of cardboard, which will turn into the folding part on the back of the stock. Here I've bent the piece, used a pin, and a piece of cardboard for the pivot point. I covered all the corrugation on the folding part of the shoulder rest, and I put a piece of cardboard there to limit how far I could pivot it. I also put some extra reinforcement on the piece that it is pivoting on. I cut a rectangular hole in the rear of the stock in that little indent and glued in that anchor tab so that I could unfold it to just being in line with the rest of the stock. Here you can see the limiting bar that I used, which is really all that's stopping the shoulder rest from swinging out past the top of the stock. To start working on the rear sling mount, I cut a notch out of the bottom of the stock. To cover that notch, I folded a little piece of cardboard here that fit just right. Here I'm making sure that it does fit and demonstrating how I did it. I cut out a couple of this shape on pieces of uncorrugated cardboard and glued them together for the rear sling swivel. I then looped a piece of cardboard through the top part of the sling swivel and glued it onto the insert that I'd made earlier. I also added a little screw for aesthetic purposes. I then just glued the insert that I'd made into the notch that I had cut in the stock before. The last step for the stock was to glue it onto the body of the gun, and here you could see I've done that. As with every major milestone of building a gun, I look it over, make sure everything's aligned, all of the lines are nice and straight, and nothing gets hung up when I try and use it. There's the action test. And I'm going to take out the magazine so I can get it on frame better and show everything I have so far. Last thing to do is make sure the sight still flips up and down. That's going to be it for part 2 of how to build my BAR. This is Magicalamazing, signing off till next time. See y'all later.